People have read it. What is your downright scariest real-life story? I always parked in a certain spot at my last job for 12 years that I was there. It was accessible to the public as it wasn't company parking, but they wanted us to park in the back of the lot so the closer spots could be available for customers. One day my spot's taken by a dark-tinted caddy, and I'm immediately pissed because everyone knows it's mine. It's morning shift, so 4 a.m., so it can't be one of the others, because I know what they drive. So newbie? Or maybe another employee from another shop in the plaza. It's still there on my lunch break, and when I go home and the next day I come in at 1 p.m. till close, around 9:30. And then also the next, something about it really bothered me. It smelled wrong. Literally, it's the south and high summer, and who knows what's baking in there. My dad was a Marine, then a police officer. He always said if you feel something is wrong, there probably is. So I dialed the non-emergency contact police number. I felt like an idiot, but every time I walked by, it bugged me. So I was stuck waiting for over an hour before anyone shows, and honestly, if I hadn't been off the next day, it would have been like, F it. But I waited, mostly because I can be really a petty SOB. And that's my spot, damn it. The police show, all annoyed because who knows how many "they can't park here" calls they get. They run the license plate though, and then things go crazy. They want my info, want me to contact my manager, does this lot have cameras, have I touched the car, etc. Apparently the car is on Amber Alert as the last sighting of a missing person who was a minor. A 15-year-old girl. When they pop the trunk, they find her dead, mutilated body under a blanket and the source of the smell. She had gone out with her much older, controlling, and insecure boyfriend, but had decided to get out of the relationship. She only made the mistake of getting into the car with him. He drove 3 counties over after torturing her, stuffing her in there, and who knows what else. Then parked and walked away, left her to die in the trunk. I never learned her time of death, so it haunts me sometimes thinking she might have been saved if I'd made a fuss earlier. So yeah, listen to your gut even if it seems petty. When I was 11 or 12, one of my classmates moved out of the area, but he invited some of us to visit him for his birthday later that year. He had made a new friend at his new school and invited him to the get-together as well. We were exploring around his house, and my friend and his new friend said we should go check out the rope swing in the woods nearby. We hiked back on this little trail and found this rope swing, which was just a long rope with a piece of wood tied to the end. It looked like if you used it, you would swing out pretty far over this steep wooded hillside. They asked who wanted to try it, and normally I would take risks and do things like that, but it just seemed dangerous to me, and I said I might go, but I wouldn't be the first. My friend's new friend said he would go on the rope swing. Still, to this day, I don't know if they were familiar with using it in the past or not, or if he was trying to be cool and impress us. He swung way out, and at the apex of his swing, one hand slipped off the wood handle and then the other. For a split second I thought, oh cool, there's a safe place to land, and he meant to do it. There was no safe landing. He made impact on a felled tree and then pitched forward and slid several feet on some rocks. He was dead instantly. Of course, we did not know he was dead right away. We had to make our way down there to try to help him. His lips were already blue when we got there. Was with a guy for a couple of years when I realized that he'd taken up smoking meth as a hobby after work. We had numerous problems already, and I had 3 small kids, so I finally kicked him out. A few days later, maybe a week, he makes a fake Facebook page and sends me a friend request. The only posts on the page were talking about killing me and my children, his suicide, and how he planned to do it that day. The most recent post was accompanied by a selfie of him in my backyard, a recent selfie, so he had been there. I was on my way home with the kids late in the evening when I got the request. I had stopped by my parents' home the day before and gotten my dad's 9mm handgun because he was sending messages through mutual friends about burning my house down. I called the police as soon as I got home, and they didn't seem to think it was a big deal and didn't have an officer available to come check my house before we walked into it. I live in the middle of the woods and we have a rinky-dink police force. Anyway, I made the kids stay in the car, I gave my oldest instructions on what to do if anything happened, and I had to sweep my own home, in the dark with a 9mm in case he was in there waiting for me and my children, and it was terrifying. I had to check my entire house every time we came home for a while, and I was always worried that I'd eventually find him in there. Police were called numerous times, and I was eventually granted a restraining order a couple weeks later when the death threats continued. He died about a year ago, and all I felt was relief.